All right, welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigerian today. My name is Daniel Atai. I'm your host for this program. And today we'll be beaming our searchlight on the agricultural sector because it is the bane of this administration's diversification policies. And we will briefly look at the funds, especially the recent fund allocated to the sector for farmers across the 36 states in Nigeria. Talking about the central bank fund that was released on the 30th of April 2018, precisely last month. And we will look at, this particular sector under our periscope as the main productive sector of the Nigerian government. And before now, of course, before oil came, or before we diversified from agriculture to oil, we were a producing nation of agricultural products. But somehow, along the line, between 1980 to 1985, we left agriculture completely and to date, because we have histories of our produces in this country from the north, west, south, east, and even the 6 geopolitical zones. We have agricultural products that each state or each region do produce as of then. Like in Kano State, for instance, the northern region were known to produce what we call, granite pyramid. We have pyramid of granites, and then from these produces, we generate other byproducts from granite. It is not just granite like food that we eat. We produce oil from granite, produce cake from granite, produce a lot of things from granite, and we export granite. We export granite, abroad. We have refined oil for food. And apart from Kano, in the southern region of Nigeria, which is the southwestern region, like Ondo State and so on, Ekiti State, Osun State, we have, what we call cocoa production. Then we export cocoa. Not only that we export, we also produce cocoa. We also produce cocoa in large quantities, such that the byproduct from cocoa, like beverages and so on, we're being made, and then we have enough food security. And when you compare our exchange rate, compare the naira to dollars, then it was minimal. It was completely minimum. I think about a naira was, $2, a dollar was 2 naira then, or vice versa. And today, what happened to our agriculture as a sector? When this administration came in immediately, he reintroduced this diversification policy that we used to know Nigeria to be, the agricultural sector. Of course, he said the over-dependence on oil is what is causing economic problem for Nigeria, because the fluctuation of oil, talking about the market fluctuation, is not dependent on our country, though we are a member nation of the oil producing and export countries. But then, if anything happens to the dollar, or anything happens among the OPEC nations, it affects Nigeria, because it affects our GDP, which is the only product of export that we have. And then the dollar and the pound tends to, control our naira, such that there is high inflation and there is high demand for the dollar because of this exchange rate. So what do we actually produce in Nigeria? Our spectacle will be on agriculture, which is our main and major, product, our foundational product that this country was known for. You will bear with me that, yes, in time past, we know no lack. We had food security. It is when oil came that we started having all these anomalies, economic problems, and so on, exchange rate, and so on. Everybody used to be farmers. And distribution of fund, mechanized farm machines were not even very difficult for the country. Then we will have regions producing in large quantities, and the government was, putting fund in those regions for the production of agricultural produce. And there was nothing like schemes of embezzlement, schemes of, not reaching the poor farmers, and so on. Everything was going normally. Now, back to the days, back to the old days. So today, we will be looking at funds being allocated to the agri sector, especially the recent one. We have plenty of funds that CBN and other financial institutions have allocated, even the federal government have allocated to the agri sector in order for the implementation of this particular sector to the rural areas to be feasible and also possible and attractive to youths and farmers and all farmers, and so that people looking for job in the cities can take agriculture as one of their employment scheme in this country. How far, how well? Shortly, I will have analysts in the studio that will together look into this very discussion. Yeah, welcome back to Spectacle. Now, on the 30th of April 2019 precisely this year, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has approved the disbursement of about 75 billion as loan to farmers in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, under the Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing in Agricultural Lending, NIRSA. The loan guarantee scheme, the loan guarantee scheme is a public-private sector initiative set up to transform the country's agricultural sector. It was initiated by the Apex Bank, the Bankers Committee, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to guarantee 75% loans provided by the Deposit Money Bank, DPP, to farmers as part of efforts to transform the country's agricultural sector. Now, with me in the studio is Mr. Emmanuel Idoko. Emmanuel Idoko is a linguist and also a public affairs analyst. And I also have in the studio under Spectacle today our in-house analyst, of course, the young incoming barrister, Right Comrade Silvanus Okwe. Welcome to Spectacle on TVN. Thank you. Now, I'll start with you, Imam. What actually, before we go into the disbursement and how this fund could reach the rural areas and the various channels through which this fund gets to the real farmers, talking about the real farmers. I'm not talking about the corporate farmers yet. What has happened to our agricultural sector in this country? And how do you see so far in these 4 years, how far, how well have we gone in the agricultural sector?
Well, I would like to start from this angle. Our tale in agriculture is a tale of the people that lost their roots at a particular point.
Yes.
I'll rather start on this note by faulting some of our founding fathers, some of our so-called founding fathers, who, when they discovered oil, threw away what gave us, what defined us as a people at the time.
Yeah.
Now, Nigeria is in a very, how do I put it, a very comfortable geographical belt.
Yes.
Where we have good sunshine, we have good weather, our seasons are timely and everything, and virtually everything grows in Nigeria.
Yeah, we have right environment for every crop.
Right climate for every crop. Now, where did we get it wrong? We got it wrong when, and it's not just on in agriculture. It is the fundamental problem that has been bedeviling our country all these years. We got certain things wrong. When you say when the root is bad, the branches will never stand. You know what I mean? We got these things wrong from the initial stage. When we discovered oil in the days of the Gowon's regime, declared an
precisely 1956 or something.
Yeah. Before then, you discover that every region in Nigeria was known for a particular agricultural produce.
Yeah, and we're self-sufficient.
Yeah, we're very self-sufficient.
We were even nations outside Europe, America were dependent on us.
Like you said in your introduction, in the north, we have the Ghana pyramids. In the south, we have the cocoa belt. We have cotton spread around different places. In the middle belt, we have the massive production of yam, soya beans. You know that? And now we don't have those things anymore. No. How did we come to this level? We became so comfortable. Our tale is like the tale of somebody that, like, for instance, it can't be like the program we should do, but it's a tale of people that we got so comfortable with oil and we forgot what was initially. Now, mind you, we are Africans. Africans initially were known to use their hands.
Yes.
Work. We're tillers. We land.
Even at them, we bought machineries for these agricultural produces. So, I remember vividly in 1982. I grew up in the barracks in Sokoto State. My father was an ex-service military personnel.
And everybody had a farm.
We go to farm weekends. Yeah. The armies will be farming this groundnut in Sokoto.
And then my mom was a teacher. I remember that even when she used to teach, we had a farm in the school.
You understand?
Now, how did we get here? You ask me. How did we get here? We got here in the fact that we became so comfortable with the oil money.
Yeah.
We did not project. We didn't know. We didn't come to terms to understand that oil is a natural resource found underground that will sometimes fizzle out. Do you know that the oil we have in Nigeria today might not be there in the next 100 years?
It was even predicted of recent. I think is it by Jimmy Carter or by George, this former USA president, George Bush, that in the next 50 years, Nigerian oil will cease, from existing, and also they predicted the breakup of Nigeria in 2015.
If you remember, we got here because of bad leadership. Our leaders,
precisely under the former metamorphosed military general IBB to from Kaki to he introduced in that 1985. I could remember vividly when this structural adjustment program was introduced. If not, we were having food, from when our fathers, once the month ends, you see them coming home with bag of rice, turkey oil, and even one chicken, and so on like that. You have beverages from cocoa, they supply them. So we know no lack. I'm talking about what I witnessed. I grew up as a child, and now we're struggling. Suddenly he introduced that SAP, and then gradually he asked them to save, and the whole money saved on that structural adjustment program were like embezzled. Then the naira began to depreciate in value, because I remember that time the naira was still very strong.
Naira naturally will depreciate because
we deviated from the agriculture.
What we have is oil. Our biggest export is petroleum product.
Yes.
Now, when we're exporting petroleum product, we're exporting crude oil.
It's crude. We don't even refine here. We'll talk about that another day.
How would you now rise your GDP when we have countries like Venezuela? The oil market is very, very competitive. Do you understand? We have other countries contesting this same thing.
Of course.
So we have nothing new to bring to the table. So that's why our GDP will keep dropping until we go back to agriculture. And let me just add something before you cut me short. This present administration, with all due respect, has done abysmal poor in the sector, in agriculture, in developing agriculture.
But it's just 4 years yet?
No, 4 years is enough. 4 years is what you have. You don't have 8 years. 8 years is not guaranteed. What you have as a president is 4 years. now subject to re-election after another 4 years. So if you think 4 years is not enough, if you are done 4 years and you're not elected, what would you be known for?
Even the 4 years, a lot of fund has been allocated to the agric sector.
The agriculture minister. That's why I watched a particular program on TV. Sometimes where some people were nominating some other young people to replace him as a substitute for the middle. I think it's apt. You know what? The agriculture minister has not shown any interest in agriculture. Now, he was trying to export yam, raw yams abroad. What's the value chain? How would you now just take yam, raw, just the way we're doing to crude, taking crude, when we export crude there? Do you know how many products are from crude? You have kerosene, you have gas,
you have
diesel, you have bitumen, you have it. And we export these things there crudely as they are, because the name is crude.
And then China will rush there to buy the byproduct for plastic materials.
So if, in as much as I respect and I appreciate the Boris administration for what it has been doing in other sectors, the agricultural sector under this ministry, under this government, has failed abysmally. And that's the truth. And that's why when I hear the call that these ministers should not be returned and be substituted for more younger people, I joined the call. Because I remember in the days of Addition, the past Minister of Agriculture, I remember that the cassava bread, we know the innovation he brought. Farmers were getting on the spot information.
That very breed.
On the spot information. On the spot information, they had this text message thing. Farmers were registered to it. They give information on the new seasons. They write formulas with certain codes. You ask questions online. They reply you. And this is when he left. This is died. And that's why
they were effectively
the African
communicating.
Development Bank saw him following what he did in the agri sector in Nigeria. And then they called him the complete.
I think they are also doing this under Minister Aldon. They are doing that, especially to those who are anchor borrowers who register. But that is where the periscope will be. For instance, this 75 billion naira that was released just on the eve of their departure. How is it going to be utilized? This money is released, for the 36 state farmers. You understand? We are going to look into that shortly. We are carrying preambles from the perspective of how we came here. And the achievement under him so far, yes, especially the RAMP, the Rural Access Mobilization program that the former minister left undone in some states. This current minister out of there has actually, enacted and implemented so many that I know, so many in so many states. But
can I just put something in perspective?
Yes.
Mediocrity should not be celebrated in Nigeria.
Exactly.
We want is results.
Is results.
Now,
not effort.
The agriculture sector, the only thing we have sustained, we have ensured in doing rice production. Now, how
rice does not have much value chain.
More value chain. But we should be concentrated on more products that will fetch us money, even in the international market.
That's why we'll go into the cocoa production and next projection for the government.
No deliberate effort. There's no deliberate effort. We're not saying it has to be deliberate. It has to be intentional. I want to see intentional. You don't promote now. I like the disbursement of funds, which is also normal. But now, how do we now follow? Is there a structure? What are we targeting at? We had cotton in this country. We had cocoa in this country. You're just giving farmers money to farm. Is that what it is? So that they'll farm, and then what happens? Do you understand me? It depends. If we don't have a deliberate agricultural policy to transform, because oil cannot sustain this country for too long.
Okay,
hold on. We must deliberately develop the agri sector, and then mostly cash crops that are competitive, that have competition in the global market. Like if you go to Cote d'Ivoire now, they're one of the biggest exporters of cocoa. Chocolates. You know what they used to make chocolate.
And we taught them that. We taught them that. We taught Ghana that. What do you call the other country that came here to pick palm kernel from here?
Singapore.
Indonesia.
Malaysia, right? Now we export oil from Malaysia and stuff. So we have to be deliberate. If you must transform this country, if you must go forward, it has to be deliberate.
But this part, anyway, we'll come to that. Let's look at how this appropriation and implementation of this fund release is going to, affect or affect the rural farmers. Now, the head of the NISA, which is the Nigerian incentive, whatever, that is supposed to be in charge of this soft loan lending, NISA, under the Development Finance Department of the CBN, Jude Uzonwane, who spoke on the role of NISA in Abuja, told the ministry and the Ministry of Agriculture and the people involved, the farmers and the 36 states, that this money is going to follow through some channels for disbursement, so that those banks concerned that will help implement the disbursement and so that to gaining this money back in terms of retrieval of loans will be easy. Said that it is going to be strictly implemented. Remember, when we started in the regional agricultural farming system, where, like I said, cocoa in the southwest, granite in the north, yam production and so on, at the middle, the central and so on. Now, there was nothing like this giving of soft loan to individuals or corporate bodies. What the government do then was that everybody have database under the FG, under the Ministry of Agriculture. In fact, all workers, all both public and civil servants, they have database, and this fund gets to them through their account. Today, we have what we call a corporate bodies, where they say this money is going to be channeled through them and so on. They say cooperative societies. And this cooperative society has been one of the middle scheme, interveners that have stopped, the disbursement of this cash from reaching the rural persons. Now, Mr. Silvanus Okpe, the angle of financial disbursement from the Ministry of Agriculture, how has it really impacted the rural farmers? Have you been opportune to?
The CBN earmarked that 75 billion to be disbursed to farmers, borrowed to farmers within the 36 states of Nigeria through the middleman, NESEL. So now, what many people don't know is that there is a disconnect in the communication between NESAL or the Ministry of Agric and the real farmers. What normally happens, except what is stated during the time of Akin Umi Adeshina. I know my father in the village got a way to send text message and his fertilizers got to him. But under this administration, how are we certain that this money will reach the farmers, the disbursement? And again, the information is sketchy. Even me that is seated here, I do not have enough information on how to go about the money.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
So if this kind of thing must get to the desired farmers, enough information must be made available.
Should be disseminated.
Yes, it should be disseminated. Because without information, the farmers will not get to know about the money. They will not get to know about how to go about it. They will not get to know about requirements. You understand? There must be a requisite requirement. There must be a certain criteria you must meet to get the loan. But these things are not within the purview of the farmers in the rural areas. And the agricultural sector must start working for the people.
Yes, because
for now it works for the elites. Somebody will come and tell you he has tractors and this, and government will want to give him loans. But the male farmers who are supposed to be alleviated from poverty, who are supposed to be empowered, because they have the lands in the rural areas.
Seen little of that. Yes.
It's not being done. That is it. If this must continue, let's get to the desired farmers in the rural areas.
All right. NISA would mobilize financing for Nigerian agribusiness by using credit guarantees to address the risk of default. Mr. Uzonwane said so, on the 29th of April. NISA is a flexible financing tool designed to change the behavior of financial institutions It covers all crops and livestock activities in Nigeria while driving improved investment outcomes and job creation. It is also building on a legacy of previous CBN interventions in agriculture that has helped create thousands of jobs. Now, has agriculture, really created thousands of jobs in this country so far?
The answer to the question is yes and a no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense, yes, in the sense that yes, do we have farmers in Nigeria? Of course, of course. If you go, over 80% of people who live in the rural areas in Nigeria are farmers. Now, a no, in the sense that why is it a no? What is the input? What are they bringing to the table? Why has agriculture not been felt? Now you're giving loans to farmers. Sometimes when I see these government intervention policies, I'm done as analyzing government intervention policies because they never get the end result. What do we have? We have farmers scattered over the country, but yet we lack food.
More than the oil well owners and the oil marketers and so on. We have more farmers than oil.
Bulk of Nigerians are farmers. I say 80% of people that live in rural areas farmers. Now, why?
Including myself.
Yeah. Why don't we have?
I registered severally for. There is one they say through NDE. We went there, and then we queued. They say before December.
Another policy like this one.
Yes, since Mr. President is trying to create job, come back for re-election, and we know that agriculture is a bane of his diversification policy. So we ran into it. I have large farmlands, and
in this country
we were even promised of seedlings.
In this country, we started a cassava revolution. How did it die? It was cassava became it was in the news. Cassava.
The other seed, the new seed type.
It dwindled, and then
the new stem. I mean, the newer stem of the cassava.
Yes.
That species that you can use for both bread, manufacturing of bread and so on. Flour.
We started the cassava bread policy, and we stopped it. We said only potassium bromide for bread. Started the cassava policy. We went there, we came to a point, and then we stopped. Now the problem we have in this country is problem of continuity and lack of foresight, lack of deliberate. It has to be deliberate. What is wrong in the government leading, in the federal government itself?
If not, the men in charge of this have integrity.
Adding agriculture in the exclusive list, in the executive list, and then they embarking on farming themselves to lead the way. Because now you are talking about an interventionist policy. We know how it goes in Nigeria. It's borrowing money to farmers. Some of them might misuse it. Some of them will use it to marry more wives because they don't see the value in it. Agriculture has been watered down to a job for poor people, for the low class, for the lower class. So it borrows money to them. They get the loans. What would they do with it? How are you going to follow up to ensure that these monies are disbursed? It's not
that is the implementation.
It's one thing disbursing the money, another thing getting results out of the disbursement. Now, how do you follow the implementation? I don't know what they have in store to implement it, but I bet you and I tell you, that if there is no deliberate policy, it's the most deliberate policy that the program has to come out. This is not about what does it take to revitalize the groundnut pyramids in the north. It takes nothing.
Probably in the next 4 years,
you can't keep empowering these farmers ordinarily like that. You have to lead by example. You understand? If groundnut become a hot, where are they going to sell? What is the market? What's the value chain? What have you created? Now, a farmer might harvest his seedlings, doesn't even know how does it even store. Do you understand? So
there should be storage mechanism in every local government, not even state.
It's a holistic thing. Agriculture is a long chain. It has to be a holistic approach to ensuring food security, where we can even use agriculture to export more than all this. Although I applaud them.
When you talk about food security, what could you say about the rice production we have today? Because even though the rice do not have the value chain, like you said,
we see here that the bulk of the rice we eat in Nigeria is
homemade and hungry.
Fine, but and I bet you differ because every day you watch customs report, you see rice being seized at the borders. You understand me? I don't know if So I don't know if they seize one container, I know that 10 might have come in. You know, how do we know? Apart from Ebonyi State that are totally proven to be sufficient in rice production, what about Benue State? We have the river. Benue has the river. How come this is not? So that story is
All right, let me.
confounded.
We are concerned about how funds, released, will channel through these various banks and get to the local farmer. Whether they are going to use it to marry wives, whether they are going to misuse the money, the fact is that they are known to be farmers. And we want such implementation, disbursements to be implemented to reach them, such that the rural areas that we have will begin to have some kind of food security. Also, he talks about, storage mechanism in various either ward or units or local government or state where, food could be stored, harvested, produces could be stored and taken to the cities and so on for export purposes and so on and so forth. What last word would you have as regard that, and probably also project for the government?
He made a great point. It is not just about giving money, but just as he said, it's a long chain. Even if you give out money for those seedlings to be planted and maybe yield better products in the future, you must provide ways. What markets will they be sold? Who will be the consumers? Where will they be stored? How will the storage facilities be?
So we have a long way to go
in
agriculture.
We have a long way to go. One thing with
stabilizing the production.
Nigeria is that we have never used any opportunities that come by. Oil has transformed many countries, but oil has led us backwards. Look at many countries that started in 1984. A country came to Nigeria and took palm fruits. Today, they are the envy of other nations. Nigerians go there to school and do other things. But in Nigeria, we have these things en masse. We have them massively. We have oil. We have everything in the world.
All right.
Leadership has killed us. We must start from
leadership.
Changing our leadership. If not, if we keep giving farmers money, give students and give other persons, we will continue like this.
All right. The essence on today's topic is that financial disbursement into agri sector should reach the common man in the rural areas and on the street who is a farmer, and then implement that all seedlings and whatsoever get to them. There should be no middlemen like what you have, cooperative society and so. No, we don't have time again, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you for coming for today's spectacle program. We'll still beam our searchlight on that agri sector.
If you would ask me before I round up, I would tell you that the present Minister of Agriculture in Buhari's second term should take leave of office. Because why? He has not performed well. That's what it is. Now we need somebody.
Probably in your state, you don't know about other states. You know the scheme just starting.
Somebody that knows how to get this thing done.
Who is abreast with recent developments.
Are you saying the minister is an old school? He's not.
Obviously,
he's a technocrat. That is why he was.
He has a farm that he cannot manage. We know his farm, a Fugu farm. He has it. He can manage it. So
he manages it very well.
How can he manage?
To me, he has secured Nigeria as a nation that has food security for now, and is doing great. And we believe that he will do more. Even if he's going to be changed, we believe that the next person will have the continuity and sustainability in government. So. Thank you for today's spectacle. Join me tomorrow again with this. Either this very topic, we'll reflect on it and analyze more, or we'll bring to your viewing pleasure another striking topic. Once again, I am Daniel Atai.